I'm the kind of guy who gets suspicious if my sandwich is cut evenly. Call it paranoia, call it intuition, but after 15 years in construction project management, you learn that when things look too perfect, someone's usually hiding a pile of shit underneath. Before we dive deeper into this story, I have one small request. Please subscribe, drop a like, comment, and hit that hype button to boost this channel so more people can discover these incredible Reddit stories. My name is Sam Callahan, and I should have trusted my gut 3 months ago when my wife Emily started acting like a teenager with her first crush. It started small. Emily would giggle at her phone during dinner, then quickly flip it face down when I glanced over. She'd disappear into the bathroom for 20-minute showers that sounded more like whispered phone conversations. Her work schedule suddenly became as unpredictable as Chicago weather. "Late meeting tonight, honey," she'd say, kissing my cheek with the enthusiasm of someone pecking a dead fish. "Don't wait up." Emily worked in marketing for a mid-sized tech company downtown. In our 12 years of marriage, she'd never had this many late meetings. But what did I know? I spent my days making sure buildings didn't fall down. Maybe the marketing world had suddenly become as demanding as brain surgery. The real red flag came when she started mentioning Rick Franklin. "Oh, you remember Rick from college, right?" she said one evening, stirring her pasta with unnecessary focus. "He reached out on LinkedIn. He's doing really well for himself now." I remembered Rick. Tall, fake charming, drove his daddy's BMW around campus like he owned the place. The kind of guy who wore polo shirts in winter and called everyone buddy while looking through them like they were made of glass. "Didn't you two date?" I asked. "Briefly, nothing serious." Emily's laugh sounded like she was gargling marbles. "He's married now, has his own car dealership, very successful." The way she said very successful made my teeth itch. Emily had always been attracted to shiny things, expensive purses, flashy restaurants, men who drove cars that cost more than my annual salary. It's why she'd married me, initially. Back then, I was the promising young project manager with big dreams and a 5-year plan. Now I was just the guy who fixed things and paid the mortgage. Over the next few weeks, Rick's name started popping up in conversation like a bad rash. Rick this, Rick that. Or Rick's expanding his business. Rick's taking a vacation to Miami. Rick thinks Emily should consider a career change. "How does Rick know so much about your career?" I asked one night. "We've been catching up. It's nice to have someone who understands ambition." The implication hung in the air like smoke from a grease fire. Someone who understands ambition. Unlike me, presumably. Unlike the guy who'd worked 60-hour weeks for 12 years to keep her in designer coffee and monthly spa treatments. My best friend Dave works security for a downtown office building. He's got the cynical worldview of a man who's seen too many cheating spouses sneak around after hours, and the mouth of a sailor who's been drinking with pirates. "Your wife's cheating on you," he announced over beers at Murphy's Tavern, our usual Thursday night spot. "It's written all over your ugly face. She's not cheating, she's just reconnecting with old friends." Dave snorted. "Yeah, and I'm reconnecting with sobriety. Wake up, Sam. When women start talking about their exes like they're the second coming of Christ, they're already shopping for new underwear." I wanted to punch him, mostly because I was afraid he was right. The final straw came on a Tuesday morning while I was doing laundry. Emily had already left for work, claiming another early meeting. I was emptying her pants pockets when I found a folded piece of paper. It was a flight confirmation. 2 tickets to Miami. Departure, Friday morning. Return, Sunday night. Passengers, Emily Callahan and Rick Franklin. I stared at that paper for a full 5 minutes, my brain trying to process what I was seeing. Emily had booked a weekend trip to Miami with her ex-boyfriend, her married ex-boyfriend, her very successful married ex-boyfriend who understood ambition. My phone buzzed. A text from Emily. "Working late again tonight. There's leftover pizza in the fridge. Love you. Love you." 2 words that now felt as genuine as a $3 bill. I called Dave. "She did what now?" His voice went up 3 octaves. "Sam, buddy, you need to..." I know what I need to do. But I didn't. Not yet. I spent the rest of the day walking around my construction site like a zombie, barking orders at contractors and trying to figure out how my marriage had turned into a bad country song. That evening, Emily came home at her usual time, which was suspicious in itself. She was practically glowing, humming some song I didn't recognize while she made herself a salad. "Good day?" I asked. "The best. We're launching a new campaign next month. Very exciting stuff." Everything was we now. We're launching this. We're planning that. I wondered if we included weekend getaways to Florida. I waited until Thursday night to confront her. Emily was in the bathroom, doing whatever women do in there for 45 minutes. When she came out, she was already in her pajamas, ready to slide into bed and pretend we still had a normal marriage. "So," I said, sitting on the edge of the bed, "how's Rick doing?" Emily froze, her hand halfway to the light switch. "Rick? Fine, I guess. Why?" "Just curious. You mention him a lot lately." "Do I?" She laughed, but it sounded forced. I hadn't noticed. "Are you planning to see him soon?" The pause lasted about 3 seconds too long. "Not specifically. Why all the questions about Rick?" I pulled out the flight confirmation. "Because you're going to Miami with him this weekend." Emily's face went through more color changes than a mood ring. Red, white, pale green, then back to red. She sat down hard on her side of the bed. "Sam, I can explain." "I'm listening." "It's a business conference. Networking. Rick thought it would be good for my career if I came along. His treat." "His treat?" "It's not what you think." "What do I think, Emily?" "That something's going on between us." "But it's not. We're just friends. Old friends helping each other professionally." I nodded slowly. "Friends?" "Yes. Old friends who book romantic weekend getaways to Miami." "It's not romantic. We have separate rooms." "Do you?" Another pause. "Of course we do." But she said it like she was trying to convince herself as much as me. I went to bed that night listening to Emily's fake sleep breathing, staring at the ceiling and planning my next move. Emily thought she was smarter than me. Rick thought he was smoother than me. They were both about to learn that underestimating the guy who builds things for a living is a very expensive mistake. Friday morning, Emily left for the airport with a suitcase that looked suspiciously packed for seduction rather than business networking. She kissed me goodbye with the same enthusiasm she'd show a distant relative at a funeral. "I'll call you when I land," she said. "Sure you will." She paused at the door. "Sam, you trust me, right?" I looked at my wife of 12 years, standing there in her carefully chosen travel outfit, lying to my face with the confidence of a politician during election season. "Have a great trip, Emily." She left. I waited exactly 30 minutes, then picked up my phone and started digging. Finding Rick Franklin's wife Monica turned out to be easier than finding a decent cup of coffee in downtown Minneapolis. Social media is a beautiful thing when you're looking to destroy someone's life with the truth. Monica Franklin was everything Emily wasn't. Sharp-featured, no-nonsense, and based on her Facebook posts, absolutely devoted to her husband of 8 years. Her profile was full of pictures of their life together. Rick at various car shows, Monica at charity events, the two of them on vacation in places that screamed, "We have money and we want you to know it." She also had a public phone number listed for her interior design business. I called her Saturday morning while Emily was presumably enjoying her business conference in Miami. "Franklin Designs, this is Monica." "Hi, Monica. My name is Sam Callahan. I think we need to talk about our spouses." Silence. Then, "Excuse me?" "Your husband Rick is in Miami this weekend with my wife Emily. They told us both it was for business, but I'm pretty sure the only business they're conducting involves hotel room service and betraying their marriage vows." More silence. I could practically hear her brain processing this information. "Who is this, really?" "Sam Callahan, Emily's husband. Look, I know this is a shock, but Rick is at a car dealer's convention in Miami. He goes every year." "With my wife?" "Your wife?" "Emily Callahan. About 5'6", blonde, works in marketing. They dated in college. She's been mentioning him a lot lately, and now they're on a romantic weekend getaway that she's calling a business trip." The silence stretched so long I thought she'd hung up. Then Monica Franklin said, in a voice that could have frozen hell, "That lying son of a bitch." "So you didn't know about Emily?" "I didn't know about Emily. Rick said he was going alone this year because I had a client presentation." Her voice was getting sharper with each word. "Emily Callahan, you said?" "That's right. Blonde marketing executive who thinks she's God's gift to the business world." "You know her?" "Rick's mentioned her. His brilliant college friend who's been giving him advice about expanding the business. I thought she was just some LinkedIn contact." "Nope, she's my wife. And she's been talking about Rick like he's the answer to all her prayers." Monica made a sound like a cat being strangled. "I'm going to kill him." "Get in line. But before you do, want to help me make sure they both get exactly what they deserve?" That's how I ended up in an alliance with Monica Franklin, a woman I'd never met but who shared my sudden passion for creative revenge. We agreed to meet Sunday evening when the lovebirds returned from their tropical betrayal. Monica would handle Rick, I'd handle Emily, and we'd coordinate our attacks for maximum damage. Emily called me Saturday night, her voice artificially bright and cheerful. "Hi, honey, how's your weekend?" Quiet. Peaceful. How's the business conference? Oh, lots of networking. Very educational. Learn anything interesting? Tons. Rick's been showing me around, introducing me to people. It's really opened my eyes to new possibilities. I bet it had. That's great, Em. Rick sounds like a real stand-up guy. He is. Very generous. Very attentive. Attentive. Jesus. Well, have fun. See you tomorrow night. Love you, Sam. Sure you do. Sunday evening, I positioned myself in our living room with a clear view of the driveway and my phone ready. Monica was doing the same thing at her house across town. We'd exchanged numbers and were texting like teenagers planning a prank. Emily came home at 8:30, practically glowing with post-affair satisfaction. She was wearing a new dress I'd never seen before and had that freshly fucked look that any husband learns to recognize. How was Miami? I asked from my chair. Incredible. Really incredible. I learned so much. She was practically bouncing. Rick introduced me to some amazing people. I might have some new opportunities coming up. New opportunities? Career stuff, with Rick's help. He's very well connected. I nodded thoughtfully. Emily, can I ask you something? Of course. If this was just business, why did you lie about it? Emily froze halfway through taking off her earrings. I didn't lie. You've been talking to Rick for months without mentioning it. You booked a secret trip to Miami. You've been acting like a teenager with a crush. That's not business, Emily. That's an affair. It's not an affair. We're just friends. Friends who share hotel rooms? We didn't share. She stopped, realizing she'd almost admitted something. Didn't share what? Nothing. Sam, you're being paranoid. I pulled out my phone and showed her my text conversation with Monica Franklin. Emily's face went through the same color changes as Thursday night, but faster. You called his wife? I called his wife. Turns out Rick forgot to mention his business trip included a married woman. Monica's very interested in meeting you. Emily's phone started ringing. She looked at it like it was a live grenade. That's probably her now, I said helpfully. Emily declined the call. It immediately started ringing again. You should answer that. Monica seems like the persistent type. Sam, this is crazy. You can't just... The doorbell rang. Emily and I looked at each other. Expecting someone? I asked. I opened the front door to find Monica Franklin standing on my porch, and she was magnificent in her fury. Tall, elegant, and absolutely radiating the kind of rage that could power a small city. You must be Sam, she said. Is the homewrecker here? Emily's in the living room. Come on in. Monica strode into my house like she owned it, her heels clicking on the hardwood floor with the precision of a firing squad. Emily was standing in the middle of the room, still holding her ringing phone. So you're Emily, Monica said. Rick's told me so much about you. Well, not nearly enough, as it turns out. I don't know what Sam told you, but Sam told me that my husband spent the weekend in Miami fucking his wife instead of attending a business conference like he told me. Is that accurate? Emily's mouth opened and closed like a fish gasping for air. Because, Monica continued, I called the hotel. The Fontainebleau, wasn't it? Beautiful place. Rick charged the room to his business credit card. 1 room, king-size bed, ocean view. Very romantic for a business conference. Monica, I can explain? Please do. Explain how you've been sneaking around with my husband for months. Explain how you convinced him to take you on a romantic weekend while lying to both your spouses. Explain how you're not a cheating whore who destroys marriages for fun. Emily looked at me desperately. Sam, please. This isn't what it looks like. What does it look like, Emily? It just happened. We didn't plan it. Monica laughed, a sound like breaking glass. You didn't plan it? You booked flights, made hotel reservations, and packed lingerie by accident? How do you know about... Emily stopped herself again. Because I went through Rick's credit card statements while you two were playing house in Florida. Victoria's Secret, Emily? Really? Did you charge it to your husband's card, too? Emily started crying. Not the gentle, feminine tears of a woman overcome with emotion, but the ugly, desperate sobbing of someone whose lies have finally caught up with them. I'm sorry, she choked out. I'm so sorry. It wasn't supposed to happen like this. How was it supposed to happen? I asked. Were you planning to tell me eventually, or just keep lying until you figured out your next move? I don't know. I wasn't thinking clearly. No, Monica said coldly. You were thinking very clearly. You were thinking about what you wanted, and you decided that what you wanted was more important than your marriage, my marriage, and basic human decency. Emily collapsed onto the couch, still crying. Monica and I stood there watching her fall apart, and I felt nothing. No sympathy, no urge to comfort her, no desire to make it better. Just a cold, clear understanding that my marriage was over and Emily had killed it. "What happens now?" Emily asked through her tears. Monica and I looked at each other. We'd discussed this part. "Now," I said, "you get to find out what happens when you underestimate the people you've betrayed." Monday morning, I called in sick to work for the first time in 3 years. I had more important things to do than make sure concrete was poured correctly. I had a life to rebuild and a marriage to bury. Emily had spent the night at her sister's house after Monica's visit. She'd left with red eyes and a suitcase, promising we'd talk about this like adults. Once everyone had calmed down, I was perfectly calm like the eye of a hurricane. My first stop was to see Dave at his security office downtown. Dave took one look at my face and poured 2 cups of coffee from the pot he kept brewing all day. She admitted it? She admitted it. Weekend in Miami, sharing a hotel room, the whole thing. Jesus, Sam, I'm sorry. Don't be sorry, be helpful. I need information on Rick Franklin, everything you can find. Dave cracked his knuckles. Now you're speaking my language. It turns out that Rick Franklin's success was built on a foundation about as solid as wet cardboard. Dave's contacts in the business community had plenty to say about Franklin Motors, and none of it was good. Rick had been cutting corners for years, selling cars with undisclosed accident histories, charging for services that were never performed, and running a financing scam that walked right up to the line of fraud without quite crossing it. He'd also been cheating on Monica for at least 2 years, according to Dave's friend who worked at a downtown hotel. Emily wasn't his first affair, Dave told me. She was just the most recent. Guy's got a type. Married women with money and low self-esteem. That stung, but it was useful information. My second stop was to see Jim Morrison, my lawyer, not the dead rock star, a very much alive attorney who specialized in divorce cases and had the personality of a shark with a law degree. "How bad do you want to hurt her?" Jim asked after I'd explained the situation. "Legally bad. I want her to understand that actions have consequences." Jim smiled. It wasn't a nice smile. "I can work with that." We spent 2 hours going through my options. Emily had made several critical mistakes that would make the divorce proceedings very unpleasant for her. The secret trip to Miami, the lies, the affair itself, all of it would play beautifully in court. But more importantly, Emily had been using our joint credit cards to finance her affair. The new clothes, the expensive dinners with Rick, even part of the Miami trip had been charged to accounts that I was legally entitled to monitor and control. "She's been stealing from you to fund her betrayal," Jim explained. "That's going to cost her." By Wednesday, I had a plan. It was comprehensive, brutal, and completely legal. Emily had no idea what was coming. She came home that evening with flowers and a bottle of wine, ready to play the repentant wife who'd made a terrible mistake but still loved her husband. "Sam, we need to talk." "I agree." She sat down across from me at our kitchen table, the same table where we'd eaten thousands of meals together, where we'd planned vacations and discussed our future. The irony wasn't lost on me. "I know I hurt you," she began. "I know I made terrible choices, but I want to fix this. I want to save our marriage." "Do you?" "Yes. Rick doesn't mean anything to me. It was just a mistake. A stupid, selfish mistake. A 3-month mistake." "What?" "Your phone records, Emily. I had Jim subpoena them. 3 months of calls and texts with Rick, hundreds of them. That's not a mistake, that's a relationship." Emily's face went pale. "You had my phone records subpoenaed." "I had a lot of things subpoenaed. Credit card statements, bank records, hotel receipts. Turns out you've been very busy." "Sam, please. Did you know that Rick's been cheating on Monica for 2 years? You weren't special, Emily. You were just convenient." That hit home. Emily's eyes filled with tears, but this time they looked real. "I didn't know." "Of course you didn't. You were too busy feeling special because a successful man was paying attention to you. Too busy enjoying the expensive dinners and gifts to ask where the money was coming from." "I never asked him to spend money on me." "No, but you let me spend money on you while you were fucking him. Our money, Emily. The money I earned working 60-hour weeks while you were texting your boyfriend." Emily started crying again. "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I know you are. You're sorry you got caught." "That's not true. I'm sorry I hurt you." "Are you? Because I've been thinking about this, and I don't think you're sorry at all. I think you're panicked because your backup plan fell through." "My backup plan?" I pulled out a folder Jim had prepared and slid it across the table. "Rick's not leaving Monica, Emily. She's got half his business, and she's not the type to go quietly. You gambled on trading up from me to him, and you lost. Emily opened the folder and started reading. Inside were copies of text messages between Rick and Monica from the past few days. Rick had thrown Emily under the bus so fast it would have been impressive if it wasn't so predictable. He told her it was all your idea, I continued. That you seduced him, that you wouldn't take no for an answer, that he tried to break it off, but you threatened to tell me everything if he didn't take you to Miami. Emily's face crumpled as she read Rick's version of events. This isn't true. None of this is true. Doesn't matter. Rick's chosen his side, and it's not yours. Sam, please. I made a mistake, but I love you. I want to make this work. No, you don't. You want to make this easy. You want me to forgive you so you can go back to having a comfortable life while you figure out your next move. But that's not going to happen. I pulled out another set of papers. Divorce papers, Emily. I filed them this morning. Emily stared at the documents like they were written in a foreign language. You can't be serious. I'm very serious. You have 30 days to respond. Jim suggests you get your own lawyer. Sam, we can work this out. We don't need lawyers. We needed honesty, Emily. We needed trust and respect and basic human decency. We don't have any of those things, so now we need lawyers. Emily was quiet for a long time, reading through the divorce papers. When she finally looked up, her expression had changed. The tears were gone, replaced by something harder. You're really going to do this? Throw away 12 years of marriage over one mistake? You threw away 12 years of marriage when you started fucking Rick Franklin. I'm just making it official. Fine. Emily stood up, her voice turning cold. If that's how you want to play this, fine. But don't expect me to make it easy for you. I wouldn't dream of it. She stormed out of the house, and I sat alone at my kitchen table, surrounded by legal documents and the wreckage of my marriage. For the first time since I'd found that flight confirmation, I smiled. Emily thought she was tough. She thought she could play hardball with the man who'd supported her for 12 years, who'd built a life around making her happy, who'd never fought back when she'd taken him for granted. She was about to learn that the biggest mistake she'd made wasn't cheating on me, it was underestimating me. Emily moved back in with her sister Karen, a bitter divorced woman who'd been telling Emily for years that she could do better than me. Karen had always resented that Emily's marriage was stable, while hers had imploded in a spectacular mess of infidelity and financial ruin. Having Emily join the ranks of the betrayed wives probably felt like validation, but Emily wasn't going quietly. She hired Patricia Vance, a divorce attorney with a reputation for scorched earth tactics, and a fee structure that would make a cardiac surgeon wince. Patricia specialized in portraying cheating wives as victims of emotional abuse, and she was very good at her job. The first shot across the bow came Thursday morning when Jim called me at work. Emily's claiming emotional abandonment, he said. Says you've been distant and unsupportive for years, that she sought comfort elsewhere because you weren't meeting her emotional needs. Emotional abandonment? It's bullshit, but it's strategic bullshit. She's trying to establish grounds for alimony and a larger settlement. Can she do that? She can try, but remember, we have documentation of her affair going back months. Hard to claim emotional abandonment when you're the one who checked out of the marriage. The second shot came that afternoon when Emily showed up at my construction site with a moving truck, claiming she needed to retrieve her personal belongings. Her personal belongings apparently included half our furniture, most of our wedding gifts, and the television I'd bought with my Christmas bonus. I got home to find my house looking like it had been robbed by very polite burglars who'd only taken items that matched Emily's decorating style. Dave came over that evening with pizza and beer, surveying the damage with the eye of a man who'd seen plenty of domestic warfare. She took the good coffee maker, he observed, and the couch, and the dining room table. Bitch. Nobody touches another man's coffee maker. We ate pizza sitting on lawn chairs in my suddenly spacious living room, and Dave filled me in on the latest intelligence from his network of bartenders, security guards, and other professional observers of human behavior. Rick's not having a good week either, Dave reported. Monica froze their joint accounts and moved into the guest bedroom. Word is she's meeting with a divorce attorney who makes Patricia Vance look like a public defender. Good for Monica. Gets better. Rick's been calling Emily nonstop, but she's not taking his calls. Apparently she blames him for not being honest about his other affairs. Other affairs? Remember I told you Emily wasn't his first? Turns out she wasn't his second or third either. Monica's attorney has documentation of at least 4 affairs over the past 3 years. Rick's been busier than a one-legged cat in a sandbox. That explained why Emily had been so devastated by Rick's betrayal. She'd thought she was special, the one woman who'd finally captured the heart of the successful businessman. Finding out she was just the latest in a long line of side pieces had to sting. Emily's been trying to get sympathy from your old friends, Dave continued, telling anyone who'll listen that you're being vindictive and cruel. How's that working out for her? Mixed results. The women are split. Half think you're an asshole for not fighting for your marriage. Half think Emily got what she deserved. The men are mostly on your side, especially after Monica started sharing some of Rick's more colorful text messages. I raised an eyebrow. Monica's been sharing Rick's texts? Oh yeah, she's got a real talent for revenge. Posted screenshots on Facebook of Rick calling you a boring construction worker and Emily a sure thing. Really endeared him to the community. Dave showed me his phone. Monica had indeed been busy. Rick's texts to Emily were a masterclass in douchebaggery, full of references to upgrading from her loser husband and promises about the life they'd have together once they both got divorced. The texts to his other affairs were even worse. Rick had apparently been running the same playbook for years, target married women with low self-esteem, promise them a better life, then disappear when things got complicated. Monica's building a case that Rick's a serial adulterer who targets vulnerable women, Dave explained. Emily's not going to like being lumped in with the others, but it's accurate. Friday morning brought a new development. Emily called me at work, her voice tight with barely controlled anger. You need to call off your attack dog, she said. My what? Monica Franklin. She's been calling my friends, my co-workers, my family. She's telling everyone about Rick's other affairs and making me look like an idiot. Monica's not my attack dog, Emily. She's Rick's wife, and she's handling her divorce the way she sees fit. She's trying to destroy my reputation. Your reputation was destroyed the moment you decided to fuck a married man. Monica's just making sure everyone knows the truth. The truth? The truth is that Rick lied to me too. I didn't know about his other affairs. But you knew he was married. Silence. Emily, you knew he was married, right? That's different. He said his marriage was over, that they were staying together for financial reasons. And you believed him. Yes, I believed him. I'm not a homewrecker, Sam. I'm not that kind of person. What kind of person are you, Emily? I'm a person who made a mistake. A person who believed someone when I shouldn't have. A person who deserves better than being humiliated by some bitter woman who can't accept that her husband doesn't love her. Monica's not bitter, Emily. She's angry. There's a difference. Whatever. You need to make her stop. I don't control Monica any more than I controlled you. If you want her to stop sharing Rick's texts, maybe you should ask Rick to stop sending them. Rick and I aren't talking. Smart move. Little late, but smart. Emily hung up on me. I went back to reviewing blueprints, but my concentration was shot. I kept thinking about Emily's voice, the way she'd sounded more angry than ashamed. She was still playing the victim, still refusing to take responsibility for the choices she'd made. That afternoon, Monica called me. How are you holding up? She asked. I've been better. You? Same. Rick moved out yesterday. Took his clothes and his golf clubs and left everything else. I think he's staying at his brother's place. How are you handling it? Monica laughed, but it wasn't a happy sound. I'm handling it by making sure everyone knows exactly what kind of man I was married to. Rick spent years making me feel like I wasn't good enough, like I was lucky to have him. Turns out I was lucky to find out what he really was. Emily called me today. She wants me to ask you to stop sharing Rick's texts. I bet she does. Hard to play the innocent victim when everyone can see the messages where she's calling you a dead-end loser and planning her new life with my husband. That hit harder than I'd expected. She called me a dead-end loser? Among other things. Rick's texts are bad, but Emily's responses are worse. She really thought she was trading up, Sam. She thought Rick was going to rescue her from her boring life with her boring husband. Can you send me those texts? Already did. Check your email. I spent the next hour reading through Emily's messages to Rick, and each one felt like a knife to the chest. She'd been planning to leave me for months, talking about our marriage like it was a prison sentence she was finally escaping. The Emily in those texts wasn't the woman I'd married. She was bitter, entitled, and cruel. She mocked my job, my friends, my dreams. She complained about our house, our car, our life together. She painted me as a man who'd trapped her in mediocrity, who'd held her back from achieving her true potential. But the worst part was how excited she'd been about her future with Rick. She'd already picked out the car she wanted him to buy her, the restaurants they'd go to, the vacations they'd take. She'd planned our entire divorce, down to how much alimony she thought she could get. Emily hadn't just cheated on me, she'd been planning to destroy me. I forwarded the text to Jim with a note. Use these. Then I called Dave. I need a favor, I said. A big one. Dave's favor turned out to be easier to arrange than I'd expected. His cousin Tony worked for a company that specialized in digital billboards, and Tony owed Dave money from a poker game that had gone very badly for him. "You want to put what on a billboard?" Tony asked when Dave explained my request. "A public service announcement," I said, "about the importance of honesty in marriage." The billboard went up Monday morning on Highway 35, right where it merged with downtown traffic. It was visible to thousands of commuters every day, including everyone who worked in Emily's building. The message was simple. Emily Callahan of Tech Flow Marketing. Your husband knows about Miami, so does Rick's wife. Honesty matters. A public service from Sam Callahan. I included a QR code that linked to a website Dave had helped me build. The website contained screenshots of Emily's texts to Rick, Rick's texts to his other affairs, and a timeline of their relationship. Everything was legally obtained and properly documented. I called it The Truth About Emily and Rick. My phone started ringing at 7:30 a.m. "Sam, what the hell is this?" Emily's voice was shaking with rage. "It's called accountability, Emily. You wanted everyone to think you were the victim in this situation. I thought they should know the truth. You put our private business on a billboard. I put your lies on a billboard. There's a difference. Take it down. Take it down right now." "Can't do that. I paid for a month." "Sam, this is insane. You're destroying both of us." "I'm destroying you, Emily. I'm rebuilding me." She hung up. The phone immediately rang again. "Mr. Callahan, this is Patricia Vance, Emily's attorney. We need to discuss your recent publicity campaign." "Hello, Patricia. Nice to finally talk to you. What you've done is harassment. It's defamation. It's true. Every word of it is documented and verifiable. Emily's own texts, Patricia, her own words. You can't just... I can, and I did. If Emily wants to claim emotional abandonment, the public should know that she was planning to abandon me first. If she wants sympathy, people should understand what kind of person she really is. This is going to backfire on you, Mr. Callahan. No judge is going to look favorably on this kind of vindictive behavior. Maybe. But every potential employer, every friend, every family member is going to know exactly who Emily Callahan really is. Sometimes that's worth more than a favorable divorce settlement." Patricia hung up. The phone rang again. "Sam," it was Monica, and she was laughing. "I just saw the billboard, you magnificent bastard." "Too much?" "Not nearly enough. Rick's been calling me all morning, screaming about how you're destroying his business reputation. Apparently several customers have canceled orders after visiting your website." "I feel terrible about that." "No, you don't. You're right. I don't. The billboard was just the beginning. Dave and I had spent the weekend implementing what we called Operation Sunlight, a comprehensive campaign to make sure everyone in Emily and Rick's social and professional circles knew the truth about their affair. We sent the website link to everyone in Emily's company directory, Rick's customer database, and both of their Facebook friend lists. We posted flyers around their neighborhood with QR codes linking to the evidence. We even sent copies of the most damning text messages to their parents. By Tuesday, Emily had been called into HR at Tech Flow Marketing. By Wednesday, Rick's business partner was demanding an explanation for why their dealership's Google reviews were suddenly full of comments about Rick's character. Thursday morning, Emily showed up at my house. She looked like she hadn't slept in days, and her usual polished appearance had been replaced by the haggard look of someone whose life was falling apart. "Please," she said when I opened the door. "Please stop this." "Stop what?" "You know what? The billboard, the website, the flyers, you're destroying my life." "I'm not destroying anything, Emily. I'm just making sure people know who you really are." "I lost my job, Sam. They fired me yesterday." "I'm sorry to hear that." "No, you're not. You're happy about it." She was right. I was happy about it. Emily had spent months planning to destroy my life, and now she was getting a taste of what that felt like. "What do you want, Emily?" "I want you to take down the website. Remove the billboard. Stop sending those messages to people." "In exchange for what?" I'll give you whatever you want in the divorce. The house, the cars, everything. Just stop this." "I don't want your stuff, Emily. I want you to understand what you did." "I understand. I made a mistake." "No, you didn't make a mistake. You made a choice. Hundreds of choices over 3 months. You chose to lie to me, to cheat on me, to plan a life without me while pretending to love me. You chose to mock me to your boyfriend, to steal from our joint accounts, to treat our marriage like it was worthless." Emily started crying. I know I hurt you, but this has to stop. People are calling me horrible names. My family won't talk to me. I can't get a job because your website is the first thing that comes up when people Google my name." "Good. Sam, please, I'm begging you." "You had a chance to beg, Emily. You could have begged me to forgive you when I found out about the affair. You could have begged me to work things out when I confronted you with the evidence. Instead, you hired a lawyer and tried to paint me as an abusive husband who drove you into another man's arms. I was scared. Patricia said you could take me for everything I had if you played the victim. Patricia said you could get alimony and half my assets if you made me look bad enough. But you forgot something important, Emily. What? I'm not the same man you married 12 years ago. I'm not the same man who worked 60-hour weeks to keep you happy while you planned to betray me. I'm the man you created when you decided to destroy our marriage for a chance at something better. Emily stared at me, and for the first time since this whole thing started, I saw real fear in her eyes. What do you want from me? I want you to disappear, Emily. I want you to take whatever Patricia can get you in the divorce and start over somewhere else. I want you to remember every day for the rest of your life that actions have consequences, and that the man you thought was too weak to fight back was actually just too decent to destroy you until you gave him no choice. Emily left without another word. I watched her drive away and realized that I felt empty. Not satisfied, not vindicated, just empty. Revenge was supposed to feel better than this. But then I thought about the text messages where Emily had called me a dead-end loser. I thought about the months of lies, the stolen money, the fake love. I thought about how she'd planned to take everything I'd worked for and leave me with nothing but the knowledge that I hadn't been good enough to keep her. Maybe revenge didn't feel good, but it felt right. The billboard stayed up for the full month I'd paid for. The website stayed active. Emily moved to another state and changed her name on social media. Rick's business survived, but his marriage didn't, and his reputation never recovered. I kept the house, the cars, and most of our assets. Emily got a small settlement and no alimony, thanks to the evidence of her affair and her plans to defraud me. 6 months later, I was sitting in my living room, newly furnished with a couch that I'd picked out myself, when Dave stopped by with beer and news. "Heard from Monica today," he said. "Emily's working as a waitress in Phoenix, living in a studio apartment, driving a 10-year-old Honda. Good for her. Rick's dating again. Some 22-year-old he met at a bar. Monica says he's telling people he's divorced. Is he? Will be next month. Monica's taking him for everything he's got." We sat in comfortable silence, drinking beer and watching a game on the television Emily had tried to steal. It was a good television. I was glad I'd kept it. "Any regrets?" Dave asked. I thought about it. 12 years of marriage, gone. A life I'd built, destroyed. A woman I'd loved, revealed to be someone I'd never really known. "No," I said. "No regrets." And I meant it.